Thank you so much for you to turn to our discussion, and a happy Friday. I hope you enjoyed this weekend and this week, and also happy New Year for those who celebrate the Gregorian calendar New Year. As you know, here in Ethiopia we got different going on. But anyways, so today I want to just have a little discussion or conversation with my fellow Africans towards colonization, but also how can we liberate Africa. I think the biggest problem we have in Africa is that most of us, majority of Africans, do not understand that we are still under colonization. And until when we come to understand to this point and we agree that we are under colonization, the colonization will still going on. So what do I mean when I say we are under colonization? Obviously, economic colonization is still going on. If you look how much the World Bank, the International Bank of Settlement, and International Money Funds, how they can crush or scratch or destroy any given country currency, that is colonization. Those institutions, they are here to colonize what? To colonize Africa. That is, for instance, number one. And when we come to educational, all African countries, regardless of either which one you talk about, we are still under education colonization because we are using non-African curriculums. So that is education colonization. Now, when you talk about culture colonization, that is even the worst one, because now through the technology, the non-African culture is inside our homes everywhere. If you watch, for instance, how many Ethiopians, I give example of Ethiopia, but it's not option to Ethiopia, but how many Ethiopians watch European football in weekend, you will be shocked, you know. So in culture, that is culture domination. They are pushing the culture to us, and we see that like is something very good. So now there is other areas of colonization, like technological colonization, which is another one. They are harvesting data from us. We don't produce those technological tools, so they produce those technological tools. For instance, if you talk about phone, for instance, or you talk about TV, or you talk about computer or laptops, or all of those things, we don't produce none of those in Africa, as my understanding. So now the ones we think may be produced is the already knocked out kid that we assemble here in Africa. So now when what they do, they sell us those technology to us. We buy them very expensive. In addition to that, they provide internet service, which also we buy that very expensive, and then they collect our data for free, and then they use for themselves. You understand how colonization that can be. So what then can we do once we understand that? I'm not talking about only African here at motherland, because even those in diaspora is the same thing. Black people don't produce anything. Pretty much, you cannot show me any black person who is not colonization in those 3 or 4 areas I just said. Whether it's in Jamaica, whether in the US, whether in Brazil, we are under colonization. So Dr. Kwame Nkrumah says the new colonization. I don't call new colonization. I just say the really colonization, because it's like mental colonization. You don't get to understand that you are under colonization until when you just check how much difficult life is. So if you go in your country, for instance, I know any given country, if you are in Ghana, or if you are in South Africa, if you are in Botswana, if you are in Gambia, if you are in Congo DRC, if you are in Kenya, the price of your living is keep increasing every day, and there is nowhere to find a job. And everything, if it's food, if it's housing, if it's the money to send your son or your daughter to school, is keep increasing. So now What can we do about this? I think this is the biggest thing that we have to face as reality as Africans. And as I have said, as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, as Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere said, and other people like Marcos Garvey, Africa has to unite. At least Sub-Sahara Africa or Black Africa have to unite. That is the only thing that will at least set up a motion to be able to liberate ourselves in those areas I just mentioned. Why? Because I'm not saying that the poverty we have today is going to end one overnight by unity. I'm not saying that at all. But it will be the beginning of ending this poverty, because the poverty we have here is designed. And there is no one single so-called country in Africa. I don't believe in African countries anyways. I think you guys already know that. Because it's the line drawn by white people sitting in Europe. So I don't believe in those lines. So anyways, those small countries like Djibouti with less than 1 million, and the Gambians and the Eswatini, those countries, they don't have a power to face war makers suffering. The people are dying here in Africa in many areas because of hunger. So no leader has a solution to that. I trust me on this. It doesn't matter if it's your president. It doesn't matter if it's your vice president. It doesn't matter if it's the minister of defense. It doesn't matter if it's prime minister. It doesn't matter if it's a king. It doesn't matter if it's a member of parliament. Nobody has a solution to these problems we are facing as black people globally, except we must come together and unite. Once we are united, it will make us very powerful to the point that no one can disregard us or ignore what we are saying or what we are planning to do. But as long as we are divided like how we are today, we will always be disregarded, disrespected. No one will give us dignity or anything, because we, as I think it's Dr. Umar Johnson who once said that as Africa goes, as all black people goes. So I think that this is the time you need to look face of your leaders, but also in the face of your children and the face of your father and your mom, and say that we have to do anything we can to bring black African at the unity. This is the only thing that will at least minimize or will show the foundation of how we can end this colonization going on. Because anytime the Western, they can just sanction a country, so-called country, anytime they want, and put all your economy in destruction. We saw that in Zimbabwe. We see that in many places. Even Ethiopia today, I think they are under sanctions, So, or the World Bank can decide, or the International Money Fund, they can decide to destroy your currency by just saying, hey, you guys, if you don't devalue your currency, we're not going to give you loan. And then from there, the country, if they don't give you loan, you can do any project. As you know, most of African countries are living on the credit or the money, the loan that we get from those countries. And when they devalue our currency, then they come back and they take our gold and diamonds, and that's it. So anyways, all this information I'm talking to you about is in my book, my new book, Radicalized Pan-African, the only one who can liberate black race of the world. So if you want to check out the book, please, you can let me know. As you always know that when I finish my videos, at the end, there is my contact there. You can call me. So that being said, also try to do your best to join our movement, to figure out which step we need to start by in order to unite Africa. That's the only thing we have to dedicate to our life for. Nothing. Don't talk about integration. That's BS. Don't talk about African Continental Free Trade Area. That's BS. Don't talk about Africa Union. That's BS. Don't talk about East Africa Community, ECOWAS, SADC. All those is just BS. Don't talk about first to build your own country and then we can unite after we have built our own country, or after we have successfully liberated our own small countries. It's like talking about liberating like South Sudan. South Sudan, since when it became a country, it has never known peace. So we talk about, hey, let's first build South Sudan, and then after that we'll unite Africa. That is just not going to happen. It cannot work, because South Sudan, the reason why South Sudan does not have peace is not because South Sudanese are crazy. It's because there is someone who is benefiting from South Sudanese not having peace, which means that someone is taking gas and gold and diamonds from the country. So that being said, my name is Imani Africa. I'm talking to you from here, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I wish you a wonderful weekend. God bless Africa, or Mungu ibariki Africa. Bye bye.